Okay, welcome to the As Yet Unnamed Movie Podcast, the Funhaus Movie Podcast. This is the second episode. We did one episode before. It was just Adam and I.
We should call it Red Carpet.
Red Carpet?
But we're referring to like a woman's vagina.
Okay, so it's the
Mary Jane.
This is the Red Carpet Cast.
I was gonna say the
Red
Boovie
Carp
podcast.
Cast.
Red Carp Cast.
You don't like it, like boobies. Get it? not like ghosts, but like boobies.
Oh, jeez. And it's brought to you by Crunchyroll. Try out Crunchyroll Premium for 30 days by going to crunchyroll.com/funhaus, Funhaus. We'll tell you more about that later in this podcast. But all of us except for Lawrence saw Don't Breathe this weekend.
I think so.
Is
I
it?
didn't think you were going to go see it, Bruce. What happened?
Dan was like, it's getting really good reviews. And I was like, all right, if you want to see it, he's the guest. He's in
Classic
town.
Dan.
And so he wanted to go see it. And we went and saw it.
Dan's got a better work ethic than any of us.
It's true.
He gets work done for us
Yeah.
that he doesn't have to do. So he got you to go do work for work.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I guess we need to make a decision right now here, too. Should this be spoiler heavy
Yes,
or
absolutely
not?
spoiler
It's the
heavy.
only way to review something.
Okay.
Spoiler heavy.
Warning, we are
That's
going to
fine.
spoil the entire movie because it was the #1 movie this
It was.
weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it,
Spoiler, he's not blind. He fakes it the whole movie.
that's what I thought was going to happen.
Turns out that's actor Stephen Lang.
Does somebody want to describe the story before we get into
we can
Yes.
walk Lawrence through the story.
Yes, the basic premise is a couple shitheads are living in Detroit where everything's run down and shitty.
total shitheads?
And they decide, or they find out that there's this old blind man who lives in a house in an empty neighborhood. He's the only one there.
An army vet, by the way. They know he's an army vet.
Yeah, and he has money that he won from an insurance or from a lawsuit or something like that. He has money there, and since they're small time crooks, but this is a big opportunity for them to like get the money and then like get out of town because no one wants to live in
They
Detroit.
do petty robberies, sub $10,000, no firearms or
Yeah.
weapons.
So because one of the kids, so really two of the robbers are shitheads. This girl and her boyfriend, Money. His name is Money.
He's got a dollar sign
Wait, the other
tattooed
guy's a
on his
shithead
neck.
too, though.
Well, he's a shithead.
They're all shitheads
but-
because they go around robbing people.
Yeah.
But
that guy-
his dad.
he's
is
abusing his dad's power.
Yeah, his dad does like that
Wasn't in the movie. Yeah, this movie is No Man's Sky because there's shots in the trailer that are not in the movie.
Really?
Yes.
But for a film, that's usually for the best, because then you're waiting for a scene to happen that never happens, and therefore you're not spoiled.
That's kind of an archetype, though. Shitheads getting in over their heads in horror
Yeah.
slash
It is.
thriller.
Either way, this kid's got a hard on for her, but her heart's with Money,
Kind of.
I don't blame her.
In the
figuratively and literally.
Except that's the thing. You're adding that context because you saw the trailer. Because in the trailer they kiss. They don't have that relationship in the movie.
That's true.
Which means that she's just friend-zoning this dude real hard
Yep.
and just
No.
using him.
Money calls her his bitch.
Is that a term of affection?
Well, at one point he lays claim to her. He says, "That's my bitch in there. Please refrain from
Yeah, but she might
pursuing
not
her."
know that. She might not know that Money refers to her that way. Either way, they find out they get a beat on this dude who has money probably in his house. Not Money the character, Money the object.
He's a shut-in. They've been monitoring his house for several days,
Yeah.
so they know he doesn't leave. So they assume that the money must be stored in the house.
But
Money
because
the
he's a hermit.
character
They also
assumes that Money the object must be in the house.
Yeah.
they also say something really important leading up to the robbery. They say, "Oh yeah, he's just an Iraq war veteran who has $300,000 in his." Iraq war veteran,
But blind.
But
Yeah,
blind.
you don't. Why, so you
Okay.
don't fuck with a blind Iraq war veteran.
So the trailer actually got to the premise a little faster than you guys. It seems like break into his house. He's a hard ass. He takes one of them out. Now they have to dodge him in his own house because he's blind, but he can hear everything like them breathing.
Yes.
Hence, don't breathe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not Daredevil. Like there's one.
Sometimes he is.
There's
Oh,
one
yeah,
scene.
sometimes.
There's one scene where a character is injured and he's breathing heavily. And so he's just waiting and listening for that, and then the guy's like holding it, and then he has to go like, and then he's like, "There you are,"
Yeah.
and then he starts he grabs him, and like knows
Yeah.
where he's in the room.
So okay, if he's not actually blind, does the movie at
He
the
is
end at
blind.
least?
no,
He's
he's
actually
definitely
blind.
blind.
That was
It's a
a
joke,
joke.
totally
Yeah,
a
that was
joke.
All right, never mind.
He's
He's
blind. the whole
super
time.
blind.
Yeah.
That's a cool premise. I'm down with that.
It's a pretty. That's the thing.
Like not
It's-
supernatural at all. Just
It's a pretty
No.
small, conservative premise. There's, I think it's a pretty well reviewed movie, and I think it deserves that.
It is well
It's
reviewed,
not
yeah.
perfect
so
by
who,
any
who
means.
directed?
Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, Fede Alvarez. He's a Ghost House dude. He did the He did the Evil Dead remake,
Which is
2013.
cool.
That was good.
Yeah,
by
which
the
is
way.
cool.
which is very different than this.
I really like that.
Evil Dead.
Yes.
The Evil Dead. Elise and I just watched last night, which is very, very violent. It's
Gory.
gory, and it's got a very complex premise and stuff like that. So, like, this is not that.
Okay.
It's very different.
Well, it's a nice reminder that not every horror film needs to be supernatural.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, if anything, we're dealing with a disabled person who's just kind of scary.
They're usually jokes into themselves, right?
Oh.
I actually kind of walked away feeling like I like this
Hey, Gene
because
Wilder.
it doesn't even feel like it falls into the genre of horror. There are scary moments, but it's more about like tension.
Suspenseful.
It's
and
a thriller,
suspense.
Have you ever noticed that if
It's
a
like
horror
Rear
movie's,
Window.
if a horror movie's really good, they tend to call it suspense or thriller, like Silence of the Lambs. Or
It's like
something.
it's
Yeah.
like punk music. If it's too good, you don't call it punk.
Well, but there's
Basically.
stuff like
Called pop.
Sinister or
Insidious.
and those are horror movies, but I think they can still be good. Or like The Conjuring, those are horror movies. This is like tension. Like you don't worry about a ghost coming and getting you.
And that's why one of my problems with this, and for lack or apologies for the pun, but I wish I had gone into this blind because I had seen the trailer
Yep.
maybe twice.
I hadn't seen the trailer.
Oh, so I so wish I had been in your position. 'Cause
Yeah.
Having seen that trailer a couple times, it shows you a lot of the major
I,
setup.
I was
and
going to say there
and
are a lot of
beats and
spoilers
moments.
in that trailer.
Yeah, it takes you through basically the entire movie. That trailer, if you haven't seen it already and you're interested in it, I wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend going to see the
Save
trailer.
for when shit gets weird, which Lawrence, oh boy, ooh, shit gets weird.
Cool.
Sorry, Adam, what were you gonna say?
All I was gonna say, if we're okay spoiling it for Lawrence, I don't know.
Sure,
if it
fucking
matters.
go for it. That's the whole point, right?
I guess, yeah. Well, so what's really nice is most of the movie, the main guy, Stephen Lang, the blind man, talks almost at
None, yeah.
He talks. He
He's like, no
pretty much
lines.
goes, "Who's there?"
Yeah.
and that's it. And then the rest of the movie is him like trying to find him. So like, it's actually kind of surprising how little anyone talked other than money.
I looked it up. It's 13 lines of dialogue that he had.
There you go.
There's a line in the trailer that is also not in the film, because there's a moment in the movie where he turns the lights out on them, right? So now they're in the dark,
Right.
which means that they can't see anything and he can't see anything. So that they're basically supposed to be now even, except that he's got a better sense of where his house is and how things go.
There's a cool
And-
scene you see a little bit in the trailer where he's like spinning a fan and then he's
Yeah.
like he's tapping like at the top of a.
He knows
rail.
where everything is.
Yeah, because he knows his house. And I was like, that's cool.
There's a moment in the trailer where he goes, "Now you see what I see," except that line is not in the movie, which is good because it's a little on the nose. He's like,
Yeah.
"Better not, don't breathe," like it's a little on the nose.
But he also sounds like Bane, which I thought was weird.
Well,
Stephen Lang is
assume-
using a strange voice.
I assumed it was because his character doesn't talk a lot. You ever do that thing
that's
where you?
what I got.
You ever do that thing where you stay home like
Yeah,
for
then
a
you don't
weekend?
talk for a while. Yeah,
you don't talk
sure.
to anyone, and then someone calls you. Go. And you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, it just sounded, it smacked of like this has to sound creepy, so let's make him sound creepy.
Here's the thing that is, it could be a strike against the film, but isn't necessarily a bad thing about it. It's just there's no one to root for necessarily.
Nobody.
Like I mean,
Nobody
like,
at all.
There's not really a.
You don't want the hard ass to wipe out the.
Well, they
I
give
mean,
you a reason to
well,
not
you
really care
kinda-
for him.
At first, you're like, I was watching it at first, and I was like, man, fuck these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like they literally, there's like one point where they're like, if we pull out this gun, like Money brings a gun like an idiot. He's
He
like,
calls it his chrome.
he's like, bro, if the other guy who's more rational goes, this is no longer like burglary. This
Yeah.
isn't a misdemeanor or whatever. This
felony.
is
It's a
this is a
felony,
felony, and we've given him the right to kill
Kill
us
us.
in self-defense
Yeah.
because you brought a weapon in here. And it's actually pretty cool because the guy goes, I'm out, and he walks away.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome! You
Um,
just exit the film.
No,
No,
okay,
no,
of course
absolutely
not.
He gets pulled back in.
Well, he
but-
comes back later because he hears gunshots.
Well, he comes back in for vagina. He
Kinda.
does. He's in love with this girl and he wants to
Yeah.
like help out. And blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
But yeah, he's like walking out, and then Money is like, he sees Stephen Lang's coming up to him, and he's like, I guess they just call him the blind man in the movie.
Yeah.
He's like, don't move, bro. And then he's like, I don't want no trouble. And then he fires the gun, and then Stephen Lang's like, well, he didn't shoot me. So he's just moving closer and closer because he knows that Money's a puss. And then he just takes the gun from him and shoots him in the
Because
head,
he's an army vet.
which he is legally allowed to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, that's the thing. Part of it, you're like, this is okay. He's allowed to do this. So again, it's not a horror movie in the sense that like, oh my God, this could happen to me. No, it couldn't happen to me because I'd never live in Detroit.
Yeah.
And two, because I wouldn't go breaking into someone's house.
But they very intentionally direct the storyline in such a way that they need to give you a reason to root for
Yeah.
the perpetrators of the robbery because I'm sorry, Lawrence, for
Just when
spoiling
it gets
this.
okay,
the
it's fine.
creepiness you were talking about.
His daughter passed away in a car accident, And
The blind man.
Yeah, the blind man. And the perpetrator of the accident was from a wealthy family, and so she was never charged and like really brought to any kind of sentencing. So the reason he has all this money is because of this big settlement that he got. When
Do you
they
discover this via like newspaper clippings on the wall?
in a
or-
sense,
Actually,
They
kind
always
of.
try to hammer that stuff in.
when you
Well,
get,
they
They look it
explain-
up on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but they-
money
Yeah.
money looks it
Is
up.
there an
actually.
intense Googling?
Well, so
sequence?
what happens is they found out early on that the basement has a lock, but the lock's on the inside. So like, okay, we need to escape the house because now he's locking the place up. Now
There's
now that he killed money.
there's a storm door that leads to the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, we need to go to the attic. While in the attic, they find a woman tied up.
The basement.
The
Oh,
basement.
the basement. I'm sorry. Yeah, I got that backwards. And so yeah, she's in the basement and she's muffled and she doesn't say a word. And then she literally hands them newspaper clippings that says, "I'm the girl who hit his daughter."
This is me.
Yeah.
I am innocent.
Why
After-
she has that, I don't know.
After we saw it, I turned to them and I'm like, "Why? Where did she get those from? And if he cut them out, how did he see to like cut those
I
out?"
know what happened.
So yeah, James's theory is good, but the
I
movie
know.
doesn't explain
it's
it.
Not,
but
it's not a real theory. It's a joke theory,
Yeah.
but it still works. She's tied up like in this thing, like basically forced to stay in one small area.
She has like
And
a
I think-
parachute thing.
I
like
think
that.
she's like basically like a bird, and so when she poops, I think he just lays down newspaper.
Pulls out her tray.
And so she was probably
Switches
about
the
to
paper.
squat to do her little daily poop, and she looked down. She's like, "Hey, that's me." So then she ripped it out, and then she hid it. So that way, if someone broke into the house to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars, she
So
could show them who she is.
at this point, DJ Friendzone and blonde female lead are exiting via the basement with the girl who was kidnapped, and they're like, "Okay, this is a bad man.
yeah, we'll get her out.
Now we're gonna get out of here."
We're
They-
leaving.
They also have his money at this point. They stole it from a safe because when he basically opened the safe to check on the money when he found the dead body, or after he killed the guy, he found the dead body because he made it. The numbers were visible, and the girl was hiding in the closet. And she goes, "Oh, so she found where he hid the
She
money."
saw the code. Right?
Yeah, it was all pretty like okay. It was believable, I guess.
Digestible.
Yeah. I wasn't like, how dare they?
yeah,
Um,
but
but-
nothing ever goes correctly.
Right. So as they're trying to exit the basement, blind man's waiting for them at the door, holding Money's gun, and he fires blindly, and he hits the girl that he had tied up like through the face, and then he starts weeping and he's super sad.
They don't explain that right away.
Right away, they do not, and
Yeah.
you're kind of like, why is he sad? That's a
So
little.
he
weird.
killed his hostage.
He
Basically,
yeah, on accident.
is what happened.
Yes.
I feel like this movie's full of logical. They're not fallacies, but they're sort of like things you have to accept and move on, or else if you start questioning them, there is a problem.
Yeah.
And that's the.
It's a movie.
It's a movie, and it's usually things like that aren't so well reviewed don't have so many of those, and I feel like this movie did. There were a lot of things that I kept asking, like, why would they do, or why did she do this, or where did he learn how to, and those sorts of things, and I just sort of moved on.
Well, my question was like, how did he kidnap this girl?
I figured that one out.
Oh, go
too.
ahead. Okay.
My guess is that he probably was there at the trial someplace they knew that they would be, and he was there, and then he like probably got her attention. This is all me reading into it, by the way.
Yeah.
But was like, I understand what happened was an accident, and I feel bad for you as well. And he was probably very genuine and very like sorrowful about the whole thing. He's like, if you ever want to come visit me, I'd love, it'd be wonderful if you stop by. So she went there to check in on him, and then that's when he sprung his trap. So
Or
she came to him.
Without any of that interaction, she just felt guilty and went to his house to go speak
Maybe.
to him.
Without
So
telling
I
anyone,
was going to say the movie doesn't explain any of
Yeah,
that.
none
We're
of
all
that is
we're reading into that.
Well,
Yeah,
because
or-
you never hear that girl talk.
Well-
She's muffled the entire time, gets shot in the head.
Also, that doesn't
and then
really.
It's done.
I feel like that doesn't survive any logic as well, because I'm sure somebody knew she was going somewhere, and they'd follow up and figure out, like, oh, I wonder who kidnapped her. Like the one person that might be tied to the one thing that happened to her life recently. Regardless, again, like we just kind of write that off and move on.
I think what you're saying, you're right. Generally, those types of things aren't in well-reviewed movies.
They usually aren't, no.
I think because this is a thriller,
you're just
people
allow
write that
it.
out
Yeah.
because they're more basing it off the emotion that they're feeling, and the movie's pretty good about hitting you at those moments, but not making you stop and go like, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, that's what killed me about Jurassic World. Is like I could never get into the movie because they would hit me over the head with some sort of moment that made me feel like an idiot. Like they're telling me I'm stupid, and then I'd be like, "Fuck you," and then I wouldn't care if a T-Rex was chasing something at
It's
the
been a
end.
while since I've seen Jurassic World. What was that moment for you?
Everything.
The Jeep
There
thing.
were
You
quite a
always,
few
you
of
always go
those.
back to the
Well,
Jeep, right?
one of the most shining examples is that the kids go and they find the old Jurassic Park, and they find a Jeep inside of it, and then that's how they escape. But for some reason, someone on set or in the script decided that one kid had to say a line to the other and say, "It's like when me and me grandpa used to fix up the old Malibu together."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't explain this situation. It's just something that helps an idiot get past this moment.
Well, as is the case with the Funhaus philosophy, at least here when we're making content, we don't like to explain everything outright, whether or not it's a joke or a plot point or whatever. We kind of like let the audience read into it, and that's what Don't Breathe does. It lets you try and figure things out, rather than telling you something that doesn't make any sense and then moving on and then doing that over and over and over. Eventually, you're like, well, I feel like an idiot, and the plot doesn't make any sense.
Well, it was smart because it gets you in with a simple premise,
Right. Yeah.
And then it gets a bit more complicated with the part we're about to explain, where you find out why the blind man is upset about the dead girl.
We don't even
She's
really
not
need
just
to
any
guess
dead
maybe
girl.
not.
She's not just any dead
She's
girl.
not just some hostage she's like getting revenge from. No, she's an incubator. Lawrence.
Oh, I see.
Lawrence
That's
gets
the creepy
it.
part then.
Yeah,
I figured there'd be
she's,
something like
Well,
that.
this is where it gets really creepy, where blonde female lead gets knocked out, and now she's tied up.
Oh.
She's going to be the
And
incubator.
blind man sitting there, and now he has like one of his 13 lines of dialogue where he explains
His
that
motivation.
yeah, he's like that girl was pregnant with my child.
my new child.
She took my daughter, so she was going to give me a new one.
Yeah,
That's
and
the justice.
And he was even like saying after 9 months I was going to let her go. Like
Which I love.
Yeah.
Adam had a perfect scenario of that, where it's like it would be great if the movie just did like 9 months later, and then he's like, "Well,
Yeah.
that actually turned out to be a lot of fun."
Yeah, she's like, I learned a lot about you.
Yeah, I'm never
You're
gonna
not that-"
rob again and
Yeah.
enjoy the kid.
They
Lawrence,
hug. Yeah.
He's not a bad guy.
No.
He didn't rape this girl in the basement. No, he basted her.
yeah, he turkey basted her.
Oh, that's nice.
There's
Turkey-
he had
Yeah.
a turkey baster full of semen.
Well, first
That he's
he
gonna put
takes-
inside her.
First, he takes the semen out of
Speaking
a
of deep
freezer.
themes, I have some questions once you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
please.
Well, there's a beautiful moment. This is actually it's shot really well. I usually hate slow motion in movies, and they shot this really well.
I'm slow jacking into a cup.
No. He has his
I know,
sperm
what you're
frozen.
talking- I know
He's an
exactly
older
what
man.
shot you're talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
And he puts the sperm on a hot plate, and he's warming it up. And they have this perfect shot of the turkey baster coming in and filling it up, and there's this huge pube
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
And you're going...
Like-
and then he's walking
Swirling
with the
around.
turkey baster like a knife.
It's disgusting.
That's
and
cool.
it's just the slowest drip
I
coming
was
out.
curious how many takes they needed to do to get that drip right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is
I
like-
thought that too.
He's got his scientist. He's got his little petri dish, but then
Yeah.
there's giant pube.
Yeah.
and then he's like, I'm not a rapist. I wouldn't do that. And then he like cuts down her like vag
Takes
slit.
scissors.
Yeah, he takes
Yeah.
scissors.
Open up her
Yeah.
pants.
And then he
Her
like
pants.
he like pulls her up so she's up on like a sex swing kind of thing. And he's like about to jam it in her. Oh boy.
I mean, he wasn't a rapist to
No.
his credit, and it was
I
one
think
of
that still counts as rape.
those, does it?
Yeah, shoving something in someone's body.
Maybe,
I think
yeah,
still
maybe it
counts
does.
as rape.
I don't know how you guys like. I can imagine when you guys see like another guy get like his balls hit or something, how you must react like mentally. To me, the
That's
thought of
another
that
level.
turkey baster coming out and my
Ugh.
jeans getting ruined, I just
And I
Also,
don't
just
think
having
he
a
was.
thing grow inside you that you can't control.
Yeah.
I don't think he
I
was
was
lubing
cringing.
it either.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
think he was.
Didn't even warm it up.
No, I'm
he
pretty sure
used
it's
to
lubed
say
up.
it.
Oh, he lubed it?
Yeah, I'm sure he would have.
Probably
He's
used to
not a
semen.
rapist.
He's not a monster. Yeah.
Lube is.
So that's
his
what the
lube.
movie uses to,
Alright.
to be like, oh, he's a bad person. They didn't just rob an old man
Well, that actually
who's
plays into-
justified in all of his actions.
So one of the things I love most about horror film, especially in the last 20 years or so, is reading into the subtext of them, which generally doesn't actually reflect in the movie. But what I'm getting from this a lot is maybe a conflict between generations. So you have the older guy who is hoarding money and literally fucking the young generation over. The young generation who's very self-interested, very millennial. They're just out for a quick score. They don't want to work very hard, but they do enjoy like taking what's not theirs. So maybe the movie is a setup for that conflict of generational divide. So you got the old hard ass, greatest generation or whatever, who if he was in the Iraq war, that's only what, 15, 20 years old at this point?
He's
It's-
a vet too.
Well, yeah, but it's
Well,
weird that he would be so
He looked
old.
like he was a career soldier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
He could have been in.
army specialist.
No,
or
he's a-
whatever,
he's a
who
badass.
Probably went to
But yeah,
Iraq, but
I
not
represented
thought he was
big
Gulf
boomers.
War. I thought he was like 90.
I mean, it
90s
could.
Gulf
Oh
War.
yeah, yes,
Like
yes,
Desert
it
Storm?
was.
Yeah,
it
I thought he
would've
was.
been
I thought he was
Desert
hardcore.
Storm or something.
Well, maybe
but
the-
it wasn't. That isn't to say that was his only stint with the
Yeah, his own
military.
tour of duty.
That's just where it stopped because that's where he went blind.
Yeah.
I see.
So I mean, like, I think overall it was shot really well, and it was acted really well.
for a movie that's only in a house.
Yeah,
It's
no,
actually shot. Yeah.
but it's, I mean, like, it's it's really, really tense. The cinematography is really interesting to watch.
There's
There was
one
a lot
really,
of that I thought was really cool.
There's one really questionable scene where they're in a room and they're trying to leave, and they're like, there's bars on the windows. What do we do? And the blind man has an attack dog, and the attack dog bursts into the room and then charges the friend zone kid and knocks him out of the window. And then you all go,
Yeah.
That was exactly. I was like, where did that window come
I was
from?
like,
Yeah.
maybe
the other
bars
windows were
weren't
barred.
sturdy.
It was a weird moment because they like got into this room and they were like, "Here, we can get out here." Oh no, we can't because there's wrought iron bars blocking the windows. But then you would think if you just
we had a
explain that
dog.
to the audience, then how can you just have someone fall
Yeah.
through a
Well,
window?
did
in the
it
next-
did it break the bars off when he fell through? I didn't see any bars break.
I don't know.
See so that was another.
It was a different window as well.
It's tough when
Yeah.
you're believing the movie all the way through, and then there's that one moment that stands out, and you go,
See,
dang
I
it.
I was the opposite. I wasn't believing the movie at all. Everything I was at, I was like, why? Again, I was asking questions almost every scene.
Oh, really?
And so by that time, when he broke through the window, I was like, oh, fuck, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I
at
love
this
that
point.
we have the Rotten Tomatoes open here, and Pete
Pete
Hammond.
Hammond.
Pete Hammond is notoriously like a shill critic. Like he just says things to try. Like if you read some of his reviews, he's trying to get into the second wave of trailers.
Oh,
like the
nonstop
second-
action-packed thrill ride.
Yes, like all stuff like that, and he loves shit. He loves shit. But I love that I don't know if that's his whole review there, but all Rotten Tomatoes has is just him saying "Don't go."
Yeah.
It's funny. It looks like the heads from Sim City that pop up, and they're
Yeah.
like,
You
"How
will
dare
regret
you
this."
do that?" Yeah, you won't
Yeah.
regret this.
I just think it's funny. I love Pete Hammond because he's terrible.
So I'm
Yeah.
curious. It seems to me that there's a legacy in the last 10, 15 years of directors getting their start in suspense/horror, basically proving that they know camera technique, that they can hold an audience, they know how to work a budget, they know how to produce a film. They produce, Insidious or something like that, and then
Sinister.
Yeah, Sinister. And lately we've had Lights Out and Don't Breathe. So do you think we're looking at the next crop of like directors that studios like Paramount and stuff will groom into their big franchises? It seems like that's the legacy. You start in horror, you get moved on to Star Trek or Fast and Furious, and then you
kind of Sam
graduate up
Raimi's-
from there.
That's the way I feel like the film industry has worked almost all the time.
Yeah, I
That
guess
you,
you're right.
you usually you can do horror or whatever gore on a smaller budget, and you can kind of have fun with it. Like we don't have to worry too much about this movie. It's 88-minute movie, and then from there, like you said, Lawrence, they establish themselves and move on
They also shot it
to bigger budget
on
films.
mostly one set in Detroit, which is like one of the cheapest cities to shoot in right
Yeah.
now.
I can't imagine this
Yeah.
this movie cost much to make. I mean, it was probably shot 90% in a soundstage, but
There are so many like small scale horror films that just blow up the box office unintentionally. A lot of like sleeper stuff. James Wan is another good example.
Yeah,
Now he's
exactly.
going to be doing Aquaman,
yeah.
Well,
but he still loves horror.
Also, Ghost House is the production studio that did this, who I believe is owned by Sony and is run by Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
So that's sort of him being like, the fact that he got someone else to do Evil Dead under his company, and it like kind of, I don't think he oversaw it much.
So
but it-
there you go. It
cost
cost $10 million.
$10
Yeah,
Holy
that's
God.
insane.
See,
That's
that's what I
why
mean.
they
So
make these things.
Yes, that's exactly why they make the movies. It's because it made $26 million just this weekend domestic.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like
So-
Paranormal Activity. Those are
I mean,
so cheap to crank
horror,
out.
Yeah.
horror is all about the gimmick. It's all about the premise. So if you have a premise that people can get behind, it doesn't matter who you cast. The biggest name in this whole movie is the bad guy from Avatar.
Yeah.
Like,
So, what
so
was his name in Avatar?
Colonel Hobbs or
Well,
whatever.
Hold
and
on.
like
Harkis.
We looked this up last week.
Yeah,
That's the
I
best
I
part.
still don't remember.
He looked really cool in Avatar, though.
Yeah,
He did look really
it was
cool.
Scarface.
So that's just like case in point. You don't need
Miles
any more than
Corrich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Corich.
remember?
We saw Lights Out.
Well-
Lights Out had nobody in it.
And Jane Levy, that is the lead in Don't Breathe. She was the lead in the Evil Dead remake. She played Mia, the
Yep.
possessed girl. But
Oh.
like, I
Yeah.
turned to James when we were watching Evil Dead last night, and I'm like, "That's her. I think that's her." And he's like,
I had no idea.
"Oh."
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like starred in like 2 huge grossing films right now, or to this point. And I'm like, I still
Yeah.
don't really know who
Evil
she
Dead
is.
had a pretty good cast, too.
But they're both
Yeah.
Ghost House. Yeah, I mean Sam Raimi's smart because when Sam Raimi was making big blockbuster movies, right, like tentpole movies, he started a company that made tiny, almost guaranteed to make money movies. So like Ghost House didn't make Spider-Man. Or it didn't make the Oz movie or whatever Wizard of
Well, so
Oz movie.
The funny thing was, because when I first started getting into this business, a lot of the casting I did for movies were for Ghost House movies. And so it was always no-name actors coming in to be like, we're doing Ginger Snaps, and we're doing, what was that chick from Panic Room in?
Jodie Foster?
No, the daughter.
Oh,
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, she came in for a read. I think I talked about this before. But
Oh,
she,
really?
Like, it's like I don't know. It's like we got her and the guy from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I'm like, this is a low budget movie.
Yeah.
But then she ended up going on to Twilight afterwards. So it was like, okay, maybe there was.
I know, but there's a reason
yeah,
Kristen Stewart isn't in a horror movie now. It's not necessary.
because her life is a horror.
Well, no, she's making, 10, 12
She
million
costs
dollars
money, yeah.
per movie, and only the big budget action films and things like that can
Really?
maintain
what was
those.
the last movie she did that wasn't Twilight?
Snow White and the Huntsman.
Boom.
But also,
But that was
Adam,
long time
Adam's,
ago.
you're semi-right in the sense that she does like independence too. She'll do like
Yeah.
like a rom-com, not a rom-com, but like a.
Adventureland.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's right.
She
did
looks like
Eventually,
she
yeah.
And
tastes
American
bad.
Ultra?
American Ultra.
American
yeah,
Ultra.
Jesse
Which you could
Eisenberg.
argue is thoroughly independent.
Oh,
Yeah,
Can you do the ad read?
that's true. Well, no, I was hoping Lawrence would help me out with the segue into a Crunchyroll ad
Oh.
read. Lawrence, can you help me out with the segue?
A premise is the most important thing.
Oh, or I was
Kind
gonna
of like
say-
the premise of a good anime.
Yeah, well,
That was pretty good.
It's gonna be anime. Like if you also want to watch media that's 3 decades old and steeped in its own stereotypes, you should check out anime.
This.
Wow, glowing.
Go with mine, Bruce.
I'm going to go with James's. This movie podcast brought to you by Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll offers the largest, most diverse collection of anime series straight from the source. Each season, they're bringing in the best new anime from Japan, and they've even started to help in the production of anime series as well. Currently, a portion of each premium Crunchyroll membership cost goes back to the creators in Japan to support the industry. So there's a number of like premium series on Crunchyroll.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know Adam, you watched the first episode of Berserk, right?
I started watching Berserk. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah,
the
Berserk's
shit.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I did it with Crunchyroll.
Is
I
Puck in the new one?
It's what?
The little elf guy?
I've only seen the first episode. I
It
just
wasn't-
started.
is-
Don't, wait.
Was,
Wait.
he, was, Puck in, was there someone named Puck in the first
Yeah,
episode?
Guts has a little like fairy sidekick that was not in the anime,
Oh!
but is in
Yeah.
the manga.
Yeah, she's
They're-
there.
they're very sidekick.
I didn't know that was her name.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
no?
Wait. So you've watched Berserk? I like it.
I watched
read
the
it
old.
once.
I watched the old Berserk. so.
I assumed Lawrence would like it because it felt like a Dark Souls cartoon.
That's
almost.
exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
Yeah.
And then he's got a giant metal sword and he just kills everything.
But if dark,
liked it.
scary, violent anime isn't your thing, you can also watch Banana Cat.
Banana.
That's also on Crunchyroll.
It's Nyan Cat, and
Yeah.
Banana. So it's like
Yeah.
a really cute little cat that lives in a banana peel.
What's
But
banana?
he has other cats that also live
Yeah,
in
he's got like
bananas
other
as
cat
well.
friends.
And
Might have to
they
watch
come
this.
out in the
I
kitchen
know.
when the owners are away. They'll play in the kitchen.
Oh.
I started
Um,
watching ReZero, which is weird. So,
heard
James,
it's
you
really
pointed this
good.
out a while ago about how meta anime is becoming, both in its like titling and its.
So yeah, so ReZero's RE:0,
Yes.
Yeah.
like regarding zero,
So not
Or
not
reply.
necessarily. It's more like redo.
or reply zero.
So it's like restarting life in a fantasy
Oh.
world with from zero is I think like the full title.
Okay.
And the idea is some dude's walking out of 7-Eleven, gets warped into a fantasy land, and the story starts. But he like plays a lot of video games, so the entire time he's commenting on what's happening to him as though he's the protagonist of a show. Mm-hmm. And it'll sometimes invert those expectations, but then also completely comply with them, and he'll be like, I knew this would happen, it just happened out of order.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird, like, is the show complicit in the meta commentary or not? I have yet to find out, but it's a really unique kind of fourth level meta shit.
I heard that show's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it so far.
I was reading some reviews earlier today, and everybody was into it. So obviously, anime is a huge thing for Funhaus, which is why we all love Crunchyroll. They have a special app offer for fans of Funhaus. You can try out Crunchyroll Premium for 30 days free with crunchyroll.com/funhaus, Funhaus. Unlimited anime, all professionally subtitled. With that premium 30-day trial, you get the newest episodes as soon as 1 hour after air in Japan via simulcast. All episodes are ad-free and 1080p, and you can enjoy across all the devices: Xbox, PlayStation, Wii U, Android, iOS, Roku, Apple TV, all of them, every single one. That's crunchyroll.com/funhaus, Funhaus, for the 30-day free premium trial. And thanks to Crunchyroll for
Yeah.
sponsoring this podcast, because without them, we would never have done this movie podcast. at all.
Arigato,
I'll tell you
Crunchyroll.
this. I'll
Arigato.
tell you this. Netflix has a lot of anime and Hulu has a lot of anime, but I'll always go into the anime section on Netflix and I'll be like, these are the exact same titles I've seen for the last 8 months.
Yeah.
And they'll go to Hulu and Hulu will have some new stuff, but Mother of God,
Crunchyroll.
the number of ads you have to watch to
Oh,
get through
yeah,
one
for Hulu,
Hulu
yeah.
broadcast
Oh, yeah.
of an anime.
And Crunchyroll just has it all.
Yeah.
Too.
Crunchyroll has One Piece. You can watch 900 episodes of One Piece.
And their queuing and viewership tools are really great too, because I'll forget where I'm at in a show a lot, and I'll like bookmark a bunch of shows that I think are interesting that people will tell me about, and I can always go back to them later because God help me, I never remember because anime titles are getting longer and longer. And more often than not, they're entirely in Japanese now, so I don't even remember them
Laura's
anymore.
just tossing and turning it right. And he's like, what was that anime?
Somebody will describe something to me and be like, "That sounds awesome," and then a day later, I have no idea what it's called anymore. There's something No Basket, the Japanese basketball show. I don't even remember again.
Now we should move on to a new section of our. This is the new section we're premiering just this week for our movie podcast.
Fresh out of the dumpster.
It's called. It's where we talk about a film we haven't actually seen.
I was going to say, should we
In
review
great
this movie
detail.
before we?
Yeah, we're gonna do a full review.
I want to see it.
So it's time for another shitty movie.
Okay,
then.
there's a mask.
Yeah.
man.
we will watch this.
Surfacing. All right.
6 times this
Dog's
weekend.
gonna find it.
I turned to Elise.
Oh, I
and
hope that
said-
dog doesn't put that mask on.
I turned
Uh-oh,
to
he's
Elise
going
and
to
I said,
again. That's the second time the dog's put on the mask.
Wait, did he?
He did it in the first one, yeah. Oh,
So
absolutely.
the first movie came out in like 1993, 94.
Yeah.
And this came out, what,
2005 or 6.
So, really?
Yeah, here, check it
Not
out.
soon enough.
Yeah.
2005.
2005. God. So, okay, a decade goes by, and they're like, what do we... Oh, God.
I'm so confused. But so the premise of this movie is that Jamie Kennedy wears the mask, right?
Yes.
But he has sex with her
With the mask on.
while the mask is on, which means that the baby is imbued with the mask powers just naturally, right?
Wait, what? That's the that's
yeah,
the
I
premise
think that's
of
the
the film?
premise.
That's what
His
Bones
mask,
said.
his mask's spum went into her and created a mask baby.
But how did the sex happen with the mask
Well, but how did
on?
he get the mask too? Because it just made it seem like
Yeah,
the dog
Just the-
found
just
it.
the dog has it. I
So
think,
where does the mask? I can't
think-
follow this movie
I
at
think
all.
the dog parts...
Oh God.
So, my guess is Jamie Kennedy puts on the mask at some point, bangs the wife.
Hold on.
Is
hold
he
on.
is he the mask?
Let me read the
Is
plot.
he playing?
Hold on, I'll read the plot.
No, that's cheating. Is
Hold
he
on.
playing Jim
Hold on,
Carrey's
I'll give you the
character?
answers once
We should all
Wait, no,
try and
see-
decide the plot of the film, and
Wait, hold
then
on.
Bruce can decide.
Yeah.
The best part is when Jamie Kennedy puts on the mask and
Yeah.
he becomes Mask Man.
Yeah, him.
There,
Yeah.
yeah.
And his hair becomes mask too.
Yeah.
Yeah, why does he have a masked car?
So
It's a
is
mask
that
movie.
stuff
Yeah.
at the end?
I think he had a mask.
Or the car put the mask on.
I want
Everybody's putting the mask
I just want to
on.
know. Maybe he's the Jim
Oh,
Carrey
wait,
mask.
look at that. There's mask sperm. Maybe
Wait,
that's
where?
it.
Up here?
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, is that the
Oh.
clip of all the mask sperm he's flying in?
Oh man,
maybe-
if there's a hardcore lovemaking scene in the last.
Oh, you
Oh.
know he's a good director because he opened the scene by showing a ceiling lamp.
Yeah. So he is wearing
He's
the
the
mask.
mask.
Yeah, you're
there.
right. They had
They had
sex.
mask sex.
Okay,
Jesus
and then their
Christ.
mask sperm
This
goes.
is the worst. Who thought this?
Is this from a movie or was
This is it.
Is this
We're
a
watching
YouTube
it.
I
video?
think this is the clip.
It even in the actual feature, if you saw it in theaters, it said
Oldtime.us.
oldtime.us on the bottom.
This makes it look like a cell phone commercial.
Look
at
Yeah.
them
beating out all the
Only in
other
Russia.
sperm.
Yeah, at the end, I wanted to try and sell me insurance or
Looks
something.
like Slimers.
Yeah, they do.
It's weird that he's sleeping in bed with the mask on though. Like
Yeah, I'm surprised
he's
he's.
just like, I'm wacky and crazy. I'm sleeping.
I,
now.
I wish,
I'm all masked
Well,
Well,
out.
if you don't take it off,
I wish
Every
he
time
just
somebody fucks, they gotta go
asphyxiated
sleep.
and that was the end of the movie.
or can't breathe in this thing.
So that one's gonna
Yeah,
go
that one
make it.
wins.
Yeah, but they're all.
Do you
masked.
think? Do you think?
Why
any
is
of
this
these-
scene so long?
Do you
Yeah,
think
right.
any of these sound like blackface right now?
Oh God.
The voice of them
Oh,
is like,
no.
I'm a getter.
I bet in the
Here, hold
director's
on.
commentary.
me see if
God,
I-
I hope it exists.
Let me see
Just
if-
come
See,
again?
look, he's sleeping with the mask.
Why are they
on.
zooming in again? Oh, you rewind it. Damn
Yeah.
it, Bruce.
I don't think there's any audio. All right.
This is the show I pitched where
Oh, no,
you guys
they're
just,
Minions. They're
just
Minions.
riff on
Yeah.
old trailers. Remember
Oh,
that?
wow.
Hold on.
From
So-
several
so-
weeks ago.
So minions.
Yeah, they're just
Okay,
minions.
They're just gibberish.
Okay.
But it
Alright.
is still kind of blackface gibberish. So.
All right, so let's read the plot for Son of the Mask
Plot,
and
which is
find out.
spoiling it.
Oh my gosh! It's
Spoiler
four,
alert!
Four,
you know,
Son of the
don't
Mask
spoil it for me.
spoilers.
I
What's
wanna-
wrong with people that
I
edit
wanna-
Wikipedia pages?
I
Fuck.
wanna-
four
I-
paragraphs.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I don't want it
watch
to be
it.
spoiled.
You don't want me to spoil it? Okay.
No, we'll
Well,
just guess what it
okay.
is.
I hate
Look
to
up the box office.
Yeah, all right,
Look
definitely.
up.
That was next. Absolutely.
Son of Mask.
Wait, was that actually in box office or was that direct to video?
No,
So-
absolutely in box office,
The-
baby.
The-
Look at that.
$84 million. That
Well,
can't
how
be-
do you think they
that
paid
can't-
for the car?
That cannot be right.
There's a lot of CG in there, Bruce.
That can't be
And
right.
that CG actually
That's
sadly
all
looks
overseas.
pretty top notch for 2005.
How did
I-
it cost $84 million?
I bet this movie was in development hell. I bet because the first one did well.
Yeah.
And so they do this. They did this with like Batman vs Superman. They're like, because the movie took 20 years to get made, they made the budget $250 million. And I was like, I don't think the movie cost that much. But they're like, well, tack it all on there and like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, sure.
So in total, it only made $57 million. So it definitely didn't make its money back.
So we're not going to see a
But
third
close.
Son of Mask?
Mask
No.
the Third.
So
We're not
close,
going
real
to see
close.
Son of the Mask the Third.
Mask the beginning.
Real close.
The mastectomy.
See what
Mask
comes up.
retribution.
See what comes up under similar movies.
Similar? Where is that?
God.
It's probably
No,
just going to be.
right tab.
Oh, gotcha.
It's probably just going to be The Mask.
Well, I just love that we're far
Evan
enough away from the
Almighty.
mid 2000s.
Super Babies, Baby Geniuses 2, considered one of the worst films of all time.
Scooby-Doo Monsters.
yeah.
What were you
Scooby-Doo
saying,
2.
Lawrence?
I just love that we're far enough away from the mid 2000s that all those movies are dated and stupid as fuck now.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
you can go back and watch Son of Mask, and it's not just bad, but it's kitschy bad because it's that CG was almost okay, except they didn't know how to use it yet. They weren't
Yeah.
using it to like touch up normal scenes with normal people. They were using it to make stupid babies bounce around dumbass apartments.
See, the problem I had with the movie was I thought Jamie Kennedy was son of Jim Carrey.
Oh, I thought you were going to
That's
say
what I
it was
thought
too
too.
funny.
Yeah, and then you see, well, you see the trailer and the baby's acting wacky, and you're like, wait, who's Son of Mask?
Yeah.
I'm
Baby
the same
is.
with you. I thought Son of Mask was
That's
other
why
Son of
I
Mask.
think maybe he's the same character as Jim Carrey was in the original.
That's what I thought,
Then
too.
That's Cameron Diaz.
I thought they just recast. They
Oh,
just,
is that what
maybe
it's
they
about?
just got
They just
together.
recast Jim
But he gets
Carrey.
rid of the mask at the end of it.
But the
he
dog
does,
finds
but
it in
he
the
might have-
river.
I can read the plot right
And
now.
then-
We
No,
can find out how he
no,
gets the
no,
mask.
no,
on.
no, no,
All
no, no.
right, I just want to make sure.
Man, I just love that he has fake hair.
So, but they abandoned like the big band styling.
Look
Because
at
when
the-
Jamie Kennedy puts on the mask, he becomes like a rockabilly.
What's up? What do you want me to
No,
look
I
at?
was
yeah,
gonna
it was
say
a
in
new
the
time.
Thumbnails, related videos.
Oh,
What's
sure.
the top right? Son of the Mask.
Yeah, maybe there's more clips.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, perfect. Comic Sans.
Okay.
Is that the full movie right there? Son of the Mask.
What's
high
going on in the
quality?
upper left?
No, 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
What's that all about?
That's Spider-Man.
Yeah, what is that? Why
Is
is
he trying
Spider?
to kill the baby?
Oh, it's because he was sleepwalking. Almost killed that baby.
Bull?
See, I told you.
Too funny.
Sid's is a lie.
Why did he almost kill the baby?
Too many mask-related baby deaths.
Yeah. I thought it was
He thought it was the bottle.
the bottle,
Who
but it was
directed
actually
this?
a light bulb.
Good question.
I hope it was like David Fincher or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm gonna say Raul. Nope, it wasn't.
Lawrence Guterman.
Uh-oh.
Oh, let's see what he's been up to.
Lawrence
Probably a lot.
Guterman.
Cats and dogs.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Cats and
Goosebumps,
Dogs. Son
Cats
of
and
the Mask.
Well,
Dogs.
Goosebumps an episode.
I think was this the last movie he made?
What
let's
the
find
hell is
out.
Mongo Wrestling Alliance?
Oh no, Mongo Wrestling. Yeah, it was the last
Oh.
movie he made.
He was the editor of
It
Girth
was.
of a Nation.
This killed his career.
Hold on,
Wait,
but
no.
no, he's got Adventures of
Buddy
Bubbly Thunder
Thunder?
or whatever.
Yeah, he announced it.
It's coming. It's on the way.
What the fuck are
He
you
got
talking?
John Savage. And,
That's Philip Durand is there.
well, I highly suggest we do a movie night.
Yeah.
And we watch Son of Mask.
I'll be on it. I'll make a margarita flight again.
Look,
Um,
he was an editor on
Girth of a Nation. That has to be a
Ta-da.
porno, right?
This is better though. What I hate is
I don't know.
what I hate doing is looking up a movie I despise and then finding that both the writer and director still have work.
That's
like
your
Skip Woods or
I was
whatever.
gonna say your Skip Woods hatred
Fucking hate
knows
it.
no bounds.
Bring it at dog.
Well, the best part was
Write a better X-Men movie.
because he got a job writing the Hitman movie, and then they said, "All right, Skip, we'll give you another chance."
He did
Yeah,
so
that
good.
sucked. That really sucked. But
Oh no, we don't
Look
need
at
to
that.
look
I'm curious to see what he's written.
Everything.
Oh, Kanan Lynch.
every bad thing.
He's doing Kanan Lynch.
That's never coming out.
Good Day to Die Hard, the A-Team,
Yeah,
which
shitty.
isn't so
I
bad.
haven't seen 18 yet.
X-Men Origins is garbage.
Ugh.
Hitman, the first one. Swordfish.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Swordfish
Yeah.
was perfect for the time
It's
period in which it came out.
it's not a good movie.
yeah,
such
but
a
it was
time
perfect
capsule
for
now.
them.
Yeah, but it's definitely
if you
a.
I'd say the same thing about Citizen Kane.
Do you think there was a
Sorta.
moment where Skip Woods was on the set of
No.
X-Men Origins Wolverine, and he goes,
on the set.
well, he goes, well, sometimes the screenwriter will come on set. That happens.
He didn't give a
And
shit.
he goes, Hugh, I pretty much made your career Swordfish. Remember me? And Hugh Jackman goes, oh, wow, that's great. And he goes, get this asshole out.
My dick.
Never wanna see it.
Suck my Wolverine dick.
Skip Woods, huh?
Good for you, Skip.
No.
Well, he's like Roberto Orci.
Can you
Or
search
Orsi.
for Skip
Orsi.
Woods' house?
Yeah. Wait,
I
on,
want
on
to see.
Google
I want
Maps.
to see how big his mansion is
Skip
because it's probably
Woods
massive.
house.
I mean, Houston comes
I
up.
don't really know if I can find
Or net worth.
hot
Oh.
property.
Skip Woods. Look at his
Oh
house,
my
Lawrence.
God.
He bought it for $2 million.
Look at his house, Lawrence. Look at it in the hill.
Lawrence, he's successful.
full screen that.
Oh, that's
Is
one of
there
my
a slideshow?
favorite things to do.
This is,
Like,
I think,
one of my
all there
favorite
is.
things to do is to look up just like
This world is
people
not
who
fair.
are just like
Lawrence, look at that!
worthless,
I'm looking at it.
That's like from GTA.
There was a character
worthless,
dying in X-Men
Lawrence,
Origins.
trash.
You could be rich like
They've-
Skip Woods.
They've not only contributed nothing, they've somehow ruined other things along
Yeah.
the way. And then you look at the house they live in, and it's just better than you could ever dream.
Maybe someday, like a Jimmy Stewart Way, we'll get a Skip Woods Boulevard
Maybe.
or something. We're lucky.
Lawrence takes a piss on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember that scene in X-Men Origins? This is an example of awesome writing, by the way.
Yeah.
When Wolverine's girlfriend is dying, and he's cradling her, and she says, "I feel cold." You know that awesome line that is really emotional that people say when they die, but he really put in a real script that
Yeah.
a real actor had to say?
Yes.
You ever think maybe
Fuck that movie.
maybe the director replaced all of his lines?
Oh,
Maybe
maybe.
he had written the
Yeah.
Citizen Kane of X-Men movies,
Yeah.
and
That's
the
what Skip Woods
director
is known for.
and Hugh Jackman
Hugh Jackman
changed all the lines. You ever think about that?
No, Hugh.
Yeah, he said, "You know, Skip, I like what you wrote here.
That's how he
but
sounds.
I want to change the thing."
Is that what
okay?"
Why
happened
does that
in,
Cockney?
What?
in Swordfish as well?
No, Swordfish was 1 to
Yeah,
1.
that was 1-to-1.
You don't have to go
Vision.
back very far to see just reprehensible like stereotypes. Every woman in Swordfish is
Oh,
either
yeah, this
a slut or a
fucking
bitch
asshole.
or both.
This guy's the same way.
Yeah.
Although he's extremely successful.
Yeah.
Because I think he's directing movies now or
He's a
producing.
producer, yeah.
So he produced The Mummy, which isn't so bad.
Well, that's
The new
2017 Mummy.
The new one.
oh no! And then Van
Yeah.
Helsing, by the way, which is one of the. Oh, that's a new Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Fuck
You're
me,
gonna have to scroll
man.
down, buddy.
Now
Oh,
You See Me Too. Limitless.
Yeah, he's
Oh, he's rolling
this
in
dude's he owns
Look up his
12
house.
Skip Woods
yeah.
houses.
Let's check out Roberto.
Stop.
He's
this.
also a 9/11 conspiracy theorist.
Oh.
Think about him.
Is he really?
Yeah.
It's bumming me out real hard.
He's a 9/11 truther. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Sci-fi White House.
Oh, excuse me, truther. Yeah.
yeah. Don't you love it how they pick the terms for themselves?
Let's find out what he was been tweeting.
God, I hope he just shows a picture of the blowjob he got in his Lamborghini.
Wait,
that's
is that
parked at his
is it, did he
mansion.
splice his picture
That
with
can't be
Kennedy?
him. That can't be him. It's 1,800 followers and it's not verified.
It's not him.
Are you sure about that?
He probably, I bet he lives
That
in a
says-
blimp,
Yeah.
perpetually hovering
it's
above
Skip
Los
Woods'
Angeles.
house on top of a blimp.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I don't like this mountain anymore.
I wrote
So too,
Xena.
Xena,
Yeah,
yeah.
he helped produce.
Oh.
He helped produce Alias.
This guy has the best life.
Let's see what he wrote. He wrote. I know the first Star Trek. I know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, he's.
Oh, I'm
was
sorry.
like-
Star Trek and also Transformers.
he was like J.J. Abrams' writer.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
so he's been kind of like riding the coatails of J.J. Abrams,
Wow.
which is weird because he's gotten worse and worse as time has gone on. Because Cowboys and Aliens and then
terrible.
Into Darkness is Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
See, one of the worst movies ever
I
made.
want to see the script for that one when he writes. And then the movie ends with that one part in the trailer.
Devil's advocate, in his defense, he is a commercial writer.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like he's not scrutinizing the words he puts on the page. He's hitting deadlines. I've seen the Transformers 2 BTS stuff, and he's featured in it pretty heavily. And there's scenes where Michael Bay approaches him and his writing partner, whose name
Alex Kurtzman.
Kurtzman.
Yeah.
He approaches them in the hotel room that Michael Bay got for them, and is not letting them leave until they finish the next draft of Transformers, which I'm pretty sure they're already shooting at this point.
Yeah.
And so like there's a scene where like they're sitting there like on the edge of the bed, and Michael Bay comes in and he's like, "How's it going?" And they're like, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, you're not going anywhere." He like slams the door.
Jars of pee everywhere.
Yeah, I mean,
So he's a commercial writer. He's just trying to
Yeah.
get pages.
well, it's really interesting. I just Kevin James is always on the Kevin and Bean show, or not Kevin James, Kevin Smith, and he's always kind of talking about the craft, about filmmaking and stuff like that. I know, yeah.
It's almost worse.
Whether or not you respect him, whatever, it doesn't matter. But he said an interesting thing that sort of pointed to the theory that I've heard you talk about, Adam, which is usually like good directors are not, they can be very artistic and have great cinematographers and actors and all that stuff, but also they know how to hit a budget. And Kevin Smith, somebody talked about how one of his movies cost $36,000, and they're like, I can't believe it cost so much money. And Kevin Smith's like, no, it cost $35,500. We came in under budget.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of a throwaway line for him, but it's an obvious. It betrays the fact that that's what he looks for.
Yeah.
That's how he wins movies.
He has
Yeah.
a new
Is
movie
he
right
stays
now
under budget.
that apparently is pretty bad.
What is it?
Yoga hose.
I
Yes.
don't remember- yeah, Yoga
Yeah.
Hosers.
It was
Yoga
popping
Hosers.
up on.
Yeah.
Is his daughter in it? Because I think his daughter is trying to act now, right?
Yeah.
Ugh. Hold on.
It
let's-
looks really
What
bad.
jersey does she wear?
They also do like really bad Canadian accents. It's a shame too because Ralph Garman is in these movies because he's friends with Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
And Ralph Garman's a legitimate funny guy. There he is.
Well, there's actually like Tony Hale's in it.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a lot of people in
It's
this
this
movie.
weird thing where Kevin Smith is now in love with Canada,
Is he?
Yeah, he had a thing for Degrassi, and then
Degrassi's
Well,
an
there's
awesome
the
show.
wall. What was
But
it?
he, like,
Tusk.
Tusk is
Then he
in
did
Vancouver.
Tusk.
Yeah,
You watched
Tusk.
Tusk
He's like in
together?
Vancouver or
he's talking
something
about
like that.
we talk about how he's doing like his Canadian trilogy now. Like
It's because he burned out American Youth. He rolled the dice, luckily. Now he's trying to restart everything, but with Canada.
and he keeps getting Johnny Depp back, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
That's a character. That's the reoccurring
Yeah.
character that he has.
Tusk, yeah.
Johnny Depp
So
will do
weird.
anything as long as you don't take up too much of his time, I think.
I think you're right.
'Cause I was
Oh, you know what?
on
Johnny Depp's daughter is in this movie.
That's
Oh.
right.
Oh, all right, all right. I
Johnny
see.
Johnny Depp plays Donald Trump in a Donald Trump biopic that Funny or Die made.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Wow.
There was a really so I watched Jupiter Ascending last night.
Yeah, we know.
Finally, we can talk about
I had a couple free hours to myself, so I was
Couple, man. That's,
Yeah,
it feels like 4.
Well, that's the thing. It's a time traveling
Yeah,
mechanism.
But that's how you.
It
if
adds
you
hours
wanna
to your
live-
life.
Yeah, if you want to live forever.
Yeah.
Just keep Jupiter Ascending
There
on
was-
like an iPod.
There was one really good line where one of the lizard creatures gets like stabbed by Kane Wise, as played by Channing Tatum.
We know.
Yeah.
The
I get
skating,
lost
the
in
skating
character.
dog.
What?
Dog
The
man.
skating dog man.
Yeah, he's skating dog man.
Yeah.
Look at
And
that
he-
poster.
And I think the award-winning line the dragon guy said was, "You're gonna regret that now." And then Channing Tatum does like a backflip and kicks him, and it's done.
Yeah, it's super sweet.
Yeah.
Do you regret it?
No.
Is he right?
Yeah.
That's foreshadowing.
Hold on. Let's watch the trailer for this terrible film because it's terrible.
This is the kind of terrible that you can
But-
dissect.
There's a part that's a literal space opera. There's an opera playing while they're in space. It's great.
They did that in The Fifth Element.
Yeah, that was cool too.
Yeah,
got cut out of this.
there you go. That's not great, Lawrence. The Fifth Element. That was great.
They
That-
they
well,
did a literal space opera,
Fifth
and it was
Element,
amazing.
Fifth Element starts and they're like, we want to do a movie that it has a space opera, a literal space opera in it. And they're like, okay, what kind of movie do we have to surround that with to
Yeah.
make that
That's
make
the end of the
sense,
movie.
right? And so, so this movie is none of that. They're not doing a space opera. What pieces can we tack on that don't have anything to do with that and don't prepare you
Dogman rollerblades.
physically and mentally for it?
It was
so beautiful.
it was tough too
the
because
places you'll go.
so I got so bored during the movie, I started reading IMDb trivia during the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Oh, it's so bad.
I wish I had a Jupiter Ascending art.
Oh,
book.
look at
There it
his
is. Look, he's skating.
Oh, so some
Give
of
it
the,
10 years. This is going to be cult.
Sean
treasure.
B.
You say that about a lot of trash.
Yeah,
and
you
it
do say that
doesn't
a lot of
happen.
trash.
so
Because
some,
it hasn't been 10 years.
It
Sorry,
won't
I'm
happen.
interrupting.
some of those shots were cool. That was neat.
Well,
That-
yeah,
that's all
what I'm saying.
CGI.
Like, yeah, some of the visuals, like the visual production design, could have
Yeah.
gone towards something that was coherent.
Yeah.
Um,
that horrible statue.
They're like, see, it's you because it looks like you. You see, that's how we know
So
because the
okay.
thing.
So here's a weird thing. Apparently, this movie was pretty much done filming in 2013.
Uh-huh.
Cloud Atlas came out in 2012, which means they went immediately from Cloud Atlas, which is a pretty big production.
It is, yeah.
To this movie, which is another big production. Then they sat on it for 2
Well,
years.
They split Cloud Atlas too, though. Tom Twyker
Yeah, they
did
didn't
half
direct
that.
all of Cloud Atlas.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
So
Gotcha. Because they needed to move to this movie.
they took different sequences.
Okay.
Oh, that Franco Potente
And
is work
it's
too.
funny because
Run
the-
on the Run Girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't know.
I love Cloud Atlas, and I was so pumped coming off that movie.
It's a good movie.
I was like, Wachowski's got another movie coming out, sci-fi. I love Cloud Atlas. The scenes I love the Neo Soul stuff in Cloud Atlas. That's Tom Twyker. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, dang it.
Yeah.
That's funny because I was just gonna say I think that's why we like that movie is because they split the duties and somebody else was there to be like, what are you guys or
Yeah.
girls doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's
what's
also based
happening?
on a book, so they
Well,
had something there, as
So-
opposed to this, which was just all from their brain. And Lawrence and I have talked about it
Yeah.
in depth.
All from their
Pretty
brain.
certain that they were trying to make Twilight. I think that the Wachowskis are really smart people, and I think that they were trying to make a dumb Twilight that little girls would go crazy for, and they'd be like, we don't understand it, but we're rich now, and now we can do anything we want to. Problem is, they overthought it, and they ended up with something that's way denser than even the most basic movies. And it's just crazy. There's one scene in the movie that's like, if the rest of it was like that, it would have been really good. And it's when they're doing it's the bureaucracy. They just need to get her passport
Yeah.
stamped or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and it
that
takes
part's
them
actually
from that
kinda
part to
funny.
that part
Yeah.
to that part to that, and they're going on, and they meet all kinds of wacky aliens
It's
along
very
the
Fifth
way.
Element.
But it's only
Yeah.
maybe 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
But that's the movie. That's what the movie should have been.
Yeah.
There's a chase sequence in Chicago is codenamed 52 part by the film's crew. It was the longest sequence in the script involving some of the film's most difficult stunts. To complete it, Mila Kunis and Channing Tatum had to film every day for 6 months.
I have a hard time believing that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like, that's...
No.
If
That's I don't know.
that
if that's
sounds
true.
impossible.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that-
also that
that's
would
kind
cost
of-
so much.
Yeah.
I was
You
gonna
have to
say
pay them for all that.
I was gonna say that sounds like prison / punishment,
Yeah.
like where it's like back in the chair, Mia, and she's like,
Hold on.
Or
Also,
Mila.
how much does Channing
Hold
Tatum
on.
cost as a day rate? To pay that for 6 months? There's no way.
You don't pay a day rate.
I'm just
for Channing Tatum.
fucking throwing out words, man. I don't know.
100
The thing is,
yeah.
here's the thing.
Oh boy.
Before we feel too
Made his
bad
money
for
back.
them, even if that
Just
is
barely.
true, that's about probably 8 hours of them hanging out in their trailer,
Yeah.
getting
Sure,
food
yeah.
brought to them and playing Xbox, and then 2
Yeah.
minutes of them going out and getting a and then they go back to their trailer. That's a wrap on Mia for
Right.
today. Like,
There's always really dumb trivia like that where they do stuff. I don't know. It's always.
Embellish.
Yeah, there's random trivia in here somewhere. Go to the bottom. This is my favorite thing. I love IMDb trivia. Go to like the very bottom.
We're in Adam's.
We're at the
Go-
bottom.
no,
Adam's
no.
zone
Those
now.
are spoilers. Oh yeah, that one.
Where,
I
which
love
one?
that. Andra Dorian was considered for a role.
oh,
That's not
submitted by
trivia.
Andra.
Yeah, I know, that's
I
not
was like,
trivia.
I was like, who and what? Like, it's so vague.
It's funny because like as you guys know, I've been listening to the book Carrie Ellis wrote about the Princess Bride,
Yes.
and there's stuff in that where it's like this person was considered for this role, and the fact that they're talking about that person never did the role, it makes sense. Like because Wallace Shawn talks about how Danny DeVito was the choice for Vincini, right? Didn't get it. Wallace Shawn just lived in the shadow of Danny DeVito for that whole production, where he thought he was going to get fired every day, and he was trying to imagine how Danny DeVito would shoot the scene. Because he's like, I don't think I'm right for this role.
Is he the inconceivable?
Yeah,
guy?
He's
been
great. He's
seen.
fantastic.
saw him at
And,
the
he's
airport
one of the
once.
funny, like him and like Miracle Max are like the two memorable funny characters. But he every day thought he was going to get fired. He just always had Danny DeVito on his shoulder, and that's an interesting situation of
Right.
like,
Or like the
Oh.
Eric Stoltz thing, where like Eric Stoltz was originally in Back to the Future,
Yeah.
and then he wasn't because it didn't work out. But these ones where it's like okay, let's
Yeah.
say like Laser Team trivia, where it's like the creators of Laser Team really wanted Johnny Depp to be in the movie. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
but
Like,
he was too busy filming Yoga Hosers.
yeah,
And they figured out they couldn't afford him.
I
and
mean,
had no
like,
part for him.
Or it's
If-
like Stuart Townsend as Aragorn.
that was
they
actually kind of
dropped out.
I like
And he
this
dropped
one.
out, yeah.
Channing Tatum apparently.
There we go.
That's the key word in this one. Kept all of his prosthetic ears from the film. To make that true, it means they would have had to see him
Walk
sneaking
away
around town
with all the ears.
with a baggie that said prosthetic ears on it or something like.
Well, it's always one of my favorite things too, where it's like Eric Abana wanted to be in this movie, but due to scheduling conflict, couldn't do it. No, there's like some dude in Hollywood is like his agent got mad at him or something like that, and that's why the person was in the movie. But I just love these they just love these little simple slices of.
So this is why I like Natalie
Yeah.
Portman, because the Wachowski siblings' second film that Natalie Portman dropped out of
Nice.
following Cloud Atlas. So she dropped out of Cloud Atlas and this film because she understood it was a giant piece of shit.
She was pregnant because she gave them Cloud Atlas, and that's how they read it.
Oh,
She-
interesting.
yeah.
Like
She was trying to get him off
It was
her
on
back.
V for
She,
Vendetta.
she was filming V for Vendetta, and she gave them Cloud
Oh.
Atlas and said, "This is
Gotcha.
awesome," and
Yeah.
they read it. But I think she was pregnant. I think that's why she couldn't do
She just
Cloud
had a
Atlas.
pillow under her.
Cloud
shirt.
Atlas, not
Yeah.
Jupiter Ascending. She
Yeah.
probably read the script. For Jupiter Ascending.
one of those movies she couldn't do because of maternity.
Yeah.
It's just really it's interesting to follow these careers. Like the older I get, the more that I'm able to see kind of the way certain directors or producers progress. And I feel like the Wachowski's getting worse. I don't know how that's a possibility because
Well,
like
they
with
peaked with The Matrix.
Yeah.
but they peaked with The Matrix, and then they got V for Vendetta, which is a really good film.
They didn't make that
They-
though. They
they
produced,
produced
it.
it.
That's right, they produced it. They didn't direct it. See, like this is what I mean. Like they're getting
Well-
it's just worse and worse.
And
Like
they're-
Sense8 is not good. I
Yeah.
watched it on Netflix. I watched like 8 episodes that I tried.
I heard it has awesome fight scenes, and the rest is just not.
Oh gosh, it
What
was
was
just.
the ninja movie they produced?
Was there a ninja
The
movie?
same director of V for Vendetta went on
Ninja
to do that.
Assassin?
Yeah,
That one was pretty
Oh,
sweet.
yeah.
It was-
Also,
yeah,
that
Rain
one was-
shirtless for half the film.
that
which
was like a pretty sweet.
I'm down.
movie.
That
Look
one-
it up. Look up the trailer.
Let's-
Look
oh,
it up.
Ninja, oh, I'm sorry. No, I saw it. It's good. It's
Ninja
good.
Assassin. Yeah,
Rain, take it
Ninja
away.
Assassin.
Yeah.
I just
It's-
want to fall asleep on his ass.
It's a little hard to follow
I'm a little hard watching.
story wise. Jesus.
It's fucking ninjas fighting each other.
I
What does
know.
it care about?
Well, let's see.
They fucking like machine gun out. Ninja start.
And this is an easy movie they directed this.
Hardcastle.
This
No.
podcast suddenly
No,
got
no,
The
no.
good.
dude who did V for Vendetta, who was there.
That's what I thought.
DP
Okay, all right.
for all of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and that's why because I saw this movie in theaters, Lawrence, and I enjoyed this movie.
Good.
I thought it was fun.
Oh,
Don't you dare, you dumb shit kid.
be a good ninja.
Well, he will be a good
grew up
ninja.
and
He'll
you
be
get-
the
You
best.
get fucking ripped and you get sweaty and oily all the time.
Oh, see, he's already whipped from a young age.
Yeah,
So
he is.
therefore there are problems.
Man, Lawrence loves these shredded dudes.
This is a movie that I feel like should be passed around more, but it isn't because
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Really?
But
cool.
someone has
Check this out.
on more than
It's like
probably
Batman,
more
but
than
look
4
at all those ninja
occasions
stars.
It's really cool.
handed me like a DVD or a file of 13 assassins.
Yeah.
Which is also pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe this just made it onto BBC's top 100 movies of the new millennium.
Really?
Yeah, I
Did
think
it really?
so.
Cool.
This movie is
It's pretty.
That weapon.
it's really well done in the sense that it's not like this isn't something you need to know the story behind. Like
Yeah.
it's like The Raid, where like The Raid is like who cares about the story.
Which they kind of messed up with in
Yeah,
the
Raid
second
2 got
one.
super plot dense.
Thank God I didn't see the second one. But
It's really good.
But
They're
The
two
action-
different.
It should.
Great.
There's no reason it's called Raid.
Oh
2.
yeah, they're two different
There's
genres
no Raid.
of film.
And it's vaguely the
Raid
same
again.
character.
I mean,
He's a ninja and an assassin.
so it's weird having seen Raid and Raid 2 a couple of times. There are some ties. There are some pretty weird ties. It's mostly verbal mentions in the first movie that then pay off in the second. So it's like references to characters and stuff you don't see in Raid 1 at all, but then they're all there in Raid 2. So
Yeah,
it's
but
strange.
The whole idea is generally a sequel is like, especially something like The Raid, which isn't a narrative film. You take what it is about it, and then you make a sequel. So like you could have
Yeah.
called Raid. Dread could have been called Raid 2.
Yeah.
More than Raid 2 could have been
Those
called
came out
Raid
around
2.
the same time, though.
Nearly at the same
Raid
time.
and I
And
remember
Dread,
reading
yeah.
a story about that where they were like, I forgot. I think it was like Alex Garland or something, and they're like, they're talking about how the Raid trailer came out when Dread came out. They're like, you're just ripping it off, and they're like, we were all just like putting our heads down, going like, how could this have fucking happened? Where
Yeah.
we did like two of the exact same movies. They didn't know about each other's productions.
Like, yeah, we have spies all over the Malaysian film industry.
Man.
Looking for this cool movie.
What's up with Raid 3? When's that coming?
Oh, let me look. Hold on. I'll look.
Do the Wachowskis have any projects on the horizon?
They sure do,
sure
at
they
least.
I was actually just looking.
Gareth Brooks?
I don't
is
think
the
you can
director?
stop them.
The Raid 3.
Who's
Gareth
control?
Evans. I think this was Godzilla
that's-
director.
No, I'm pretty sure Raid
No.
was his big breakout.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like a
VHS.
white dude who went to Indonesia
Who
and
am I
made
thinking
a
of?
bunch of movies.
Yeah, because you can legally get away with. Oh, he did Marantau? Okay. Did he direct or was
When's-
he?
He's the writer.
Where's Raid
Okay.
3? Are they just calling it the Raid?
Right there, the Raid 3
Oh,
announced.
Jesus.
Well, the first one was called Raid, right? No.
No,
Oh,
it's like the Raid
No, Raid.
Retribution.
Oh, it's called Raid Redemption. That's
yeah,
right.
they added a subtitle to it.
So weird.
I remember I saw Raid 2 in theater. I saw it at the Cinerama Dome, actually. Not in the dome, but in that theater. And there was an earthquake during the movie, but it was during a part when dudes were getting their asses beat so hard. I was like, I can't tell if this is just me vibing on this movie hard. But then people like got up and left the theater, so it was like, oh, that was an earthquake. And these people are scared they're going to
You
die.
were also drunk at the time.
No, I watched that sober.
When I saw the Raid, it felt like a lot when I saw Attack the Block in theater, where like the theater was not full enough, and I did not breathe the whole time, and it was like I think they're both pretty short films.
They are.
What's that dude up to?
And he just
Attack
feels
the
like
Block guy?
nonstop
I
the
know
whole time.
he wrote with quotations around it Ant-Man, but
Let's find out. Jill Cornish. That's right. Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, but this weekend the Thor Ragnarok clip came out from Comic-Con.
Oh, can I see it? Should I show
Yeah,
it?
we can skim it.
What's the deal with that?
I haven't
you
watched
might
it
want to
yet.
watch
Yeah,
it
you
yourself.
So, have
not really
you-
skim it because it's basically watching an episode of The Office,
Oh.
Yeah.
but with Thor.
Yeah,
But
there-
it's good.
right there. It's the first thing.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
action
It's good.
packed in any
no,
sense. of
and
the
so
word.
have you seen What We Do in the Shadows? Or What We Do in the Shadows?
What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows.
No, I haven't seen
Have
it.
you seen it, Lawrence?
Yes.
Everyone here should see it.
So that director is making Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Which I did not
we
know.
talked about
Waiki-
that the
Taika
other day.
Waititi.
We saw what Hunt
what's
for the
his
Wilder
name?
People.
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
his.
Oh, which I heard was also really
Yeah.
good. He's like a New Zealand director.
Taika with
He's in
Yeah.
What We Do in Shadows.
He's a collaborator with Jermaine Clement.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I gotta watch this.
Well, everybody's like, "Who's this purple guy?" And they're like, "Vision." He's like, "Surprised you knew that one."
Yeah, yeah.
It's super funny. They clearly shot this like in Australia.
Well, he said after the Avengers 2, he wanted to take some time off.
Yeah.
So he went to Australia, got a roommate, and he's just been hanging out, kind of. But like he's like bothering this guy who's just trying to work, and he's like showing off what his Infinity Stone like conspiracy wall and stuff like that.
This is great.
He like hangs out with Bruce Banner for a little bit.
Yeah.
But like no one's. It's all during Civil War, so it's like he's like no one's calling me. Like,
Yeah.
no, fine, I'm on Team Thor.
Yeah. Well, and then yeah, it's like Tony wants to know how he can get a hold of you, and he's like, "I don't have a
Yeah.
phone."
Tell him to send a raven.
Wow, I gotta watch this.
Yeah,
This
it's really funny, and it's a certain levity that I didn't get from any of the other Thor films.
they never had any levity.
Well,
Well, they did. That's a problem.
There was some in
Thor
Thor
1
Another.
was like, oh, we're in New Mexico now, and it's supposed to be funny. He got hit by a car, but like
Yeah.
it's not funny at all.
It wasn't that funny. I mean, like, it was just sort of like oh, that's cute.
Well, I think in context
It's quaint.
is the important thing. I agree it wasn't funny, but I mean, next to maybe some of the quips in Iron Man, it was probably the most lighthearted comic book movie to come out in a while.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I'm just glad that they have someone who actually knows how to do comedy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that way,
but-
if they do inject levity into Ragnarok, which sounds pretty dark, it's pretty serious, that
Well, yeah,
at least they'll
I've
have
heard it
good
described as a road movie with Thor and Hulk
Yeah.
pouncing around through Asgard. So there's a lot of
Cool.
like in a what is it? Fucking Two Towers. What is that fight?
The Helm's Deep.
Yeah, Helm's
Oh.
Deep. There are some moments of levity between Gimli and
Oh,
Oh yeah.
So similar to Captain
Legolas.
America, like the first Captain America, I was like, it's okay, it's a decent movie. Thor, I was like, okay. Second Thor, okay, kind of more of the same, whatever. I'm like super stoked for a third Thor movie that's done by a comedy director with Hulk in it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Same
Me
with like
too.
Civil War and all that stuff, or
Yeah.
like Winter Soldier. As it moved on, like more characters were in it, and it becomes less of a Captain America movie. It's more of a Avengers side movie, which is far more interesting than just
Yeah.
focusing on that one actor and being like, where'd they all go? It's like,
Yeah.
no, it's a big universe.
It's all interviews with some vampires.
Oh, that's
Well, that's the short
their
that they
short.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That's just thought it was funny that I didn't realize they called it that. That's
I
really funny.
showed Jess the trailer for this last night because I was like, oh, you should watch this because we watched the Thor thing. And I just love the part where they're at the club and they're like, please invite us in.
Yeah, yeah.
I know I'm repeating myself from a couple weeks ago, but I am excited for Thor and I'm excited for Aquaman purely because of Taika Waititi and James Wan. Because
Yeah.
I think the director is going to make those movies.
Oh, I hope so.
Bruce has talked about it before, though. Marvel tends to succeed generally because they hire directors who are skilled at working with performers as opposed to working with visuals.
Oh, yeah.
And DC hires people who are skilled with working with visuals
That's a really
But
and not
actors.
working with actors.
interesting and accurate point.
Even though they claim David Ayer was the actor's director, and then the movie we got was
Well,
I don't
I'm
know.
sure David Ayer tells people that he's the actor's director, but no offense to Denzel Washington, he's just kind of okay.
That
in
was
the
Will-
movie that
that
won
was
him
Will
an,
Smith.
No, in the movie
Oh.
that won him an Academy Award.
Training Day?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I think
He was
Training
good in
Day
Training Day.
is a fantastic
Flight?
movie.
I think
That
it
was
is.
great in
I think
Flight.
it's a good
But
movie.
what
I
James
don't
is-
think it's
Denzel in it.
carried by Denzel
I
Washington
was going to say
at all.
what James
Ethan
is.
Hawke did a great.
What James is saying is that Denzel Washington usually plays the same character.
I thought he was so
This
different
is
in Training Day.
this is the one time where they didn't ask you to root for him, though.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
What
He
about-
put in the movie before that, he put a grenade in some guy's ass and was acting
Oh,
like a
Man on
badass.
Fire?
Except
Man
you
on
were
Fire.
rooting for him.
Yeah.
And this one, he was doing the exact same shit, except you were like, oh, he's a bad guy because they had Ethan Hawke there juxtaposing his
Yeah,
actions.
he made Ethan Hawke do
Yeah.
meth.
Well, there's a bit of a difference in motivation too. I mean, in Man on Fire, he was kind of the taciturn. It was a rampage movie, like the old Michael
What?
Caine film.
I'm just saying.
Lawrence, you know that James Wan is doing Mortal Kombat 3?
Fuck yes,
Did
he's
you know
actually
that?
the perfect director for that.
He's producing Mortal Kombat 3.
James Wan
He's
is like the
pretty
modern
sure
Paul W.S. Anderson.
He did Conjuring 2 this summer. He produced Lights Out this summer.
a new
Resident Evil on the way.
He's everywhere.
Oh man,
The final Resident Evil.
I watched
right,
the trailer
until
for
the
Wrap
Resident.
up that whole lineage.
No way.
I watched the Resident. I think we all watched the Resident Evil trailer,
Yeah, we did.
right?
That's
And
my
we all
favorite
just kind of half paid attention. Then
Fuck you.
And then it got my.
I was in there the whole way.
Oh man,
I'm
no,
not.
oh it's all right. Oh well, then I watched it when we saw Don't Breathe, and
Yeah.
it was like, wow, what a giant piece of shit this looks like. Like not
My-
that Resident Evil means anything special to me anymore because it's whatever. The way the game is going now is actually interesting.
Yeah.
But like, man, when like Wesker shows up in
My
the
favorite
trailer,
thing. Well,
Who
there
cares?
appears to be there appears
Who
to be
cares?
two Weskers. There appears to be two Weskers in that film. But my favorite thing about that trailer is when it references shit that was in other movies that other people didn't care about.
Yeah, and we're all
Like,
supposed to be like,
yeah.
oh my god, they're
Wesker's-
referencing this
Yeah,
from...
Wesker's like, I haven't seen you since London. Wink. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. I don't know. I know you're referencing number 4, maybe.
Yeah, who
but
cares?
I don't know, and
Who
I don't
cares?
care.
Yeah,
That is
but-
the most video game thing, though. Like to me, the Resident Evil series is the most accurate to the games in terms of tone because it prioritizes the wrong things. It's dumb as shit. It has a canon that it religiously sticks to, but no one else knows or cares about. It's like all the Resident Evil games themselves up until
So-
6.
That's-
No,
Code Veronica.
That's fine, but I'm not going to admire it for being shitty.
Well, no,
I am.
I don't think that they're trying. All those things you said,
It's just a shit
nobody
firework.
tries to do. Like nobody's like, we need to make it garbage. Like I don't think anybody's ever out there trying to make a garbage
Well,
film.
I think
I think it's a Sam Raimi sense of making something that's fun and tongue-in-cheek, but it takes effort to do that right.
It's just funny to think, though, because Resident Evil, when you think about it, you're like, okay, slow survival, horror, city, weird puzzles, conspiracy with this, like, shadow government. And then you see the movie, and they're like, post-apocalyptic desert zombies.
That was
But
the
no,
third
but that's
no,
not
this
where-
is the new one.
Yeah,
But
that's the new
not
one.
where.
And also
no,
the
but
new one.
Lawrence is saying that's the same place as where the movies began, with
Yeah.
a small location after some sort of small disaster, and a small group of people are affected by it. Very small, and from there, it's like. Think about Resident Evil 3 Nemesis compared to
Yeah.
Resident Evil 1. It's absurd.
But you're
I'm
fighting
just saying,
giant spiders and alligators, and by 4 you have a giant like robotic statue that's pounding after you, and a little midget man in a Napoleon hat.
I'm just saying, you don't follow the cinematic expertise of those making the Resident Evil video games if you want to make good movies. You do something like Mad Max Fury Road, which is by far the most video game movie ever made, because it's all about maintaining that momentum
I
and
feel
being
like
full throttle the
at
whole
this
time.
at this point we just call the series Zombie Planet. Like we just stopped calling it Resident
No,
Evil.
you're right. You're
Call
right.
it Biohazard.
Yeah,
Converge.
fuck yeah.
But I mean, this, like Lawrence said, same could be said for the video game. Resident Evil doesn't make any sense for the name of that video game.
We were at Soup Plantation for lunch, and we were talking about myself, Omar, and Don were talking about MP. We were talking about Jurassic Park, and have I ever told you guys my cool Jurassic Park idea?
Oh, boy.
No.
Can I tell you it?
Yes.
I wanted this since I was a kid. This is what I thought the Lost World was going to be, but I wanted something that isn't the same fucking formula for every Jurassic Park, which is let's go to the park, everything's great. Oh no, it went wrong.
Right. Yeah.
You basically just remake Predator. So you have a group of like Navy SEALs, and they're going into like Guantanamo Bay or like Cuba or somewhere. They're trying to break into a prison, covert ops. They're trying to go in and rescue somebody, but they get hit by a storm, and so they wash up on an island. Oh shit, it's Dinosaur Island, and then they have to survive.
Well, that's like Predator. Like you said, Predators. I guess the one with Adrian Brody.
I would say, or just Predator in general. It starts out as like a war movie,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, oh shit, we're being hunted.
Yeah.
That's kind of the premise of Jurassic Park 3, though.
It is.
They
yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well,
except they were.
It's not a family.
They had the intention of going to that island. That's the thing. I want to throw a bunch of characters who have no idea that dinosaurs exist, like into this world and go. And then like there's like one scientist is like, oh yeah, we've been like living here for like 30 years, and like
You're Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you could have that moment, but like I like the idea of like, okay, what if you instead of the kid who knows how to magically fix a Jeep, what if you have a character that actually knows how to trap an animal? Like, wouldn't that be interesting in a movie? But like, say like all their weapons, are taken away or something, or they have like limited ammo. Then I guess you're making Dino Crisis the movie.
So I have bad news. The
All
movie
comes back to Capcom.
the movie podcast is over.
No!
But also, Adam, you just gave your idea out to the world. So now
Well,
somebody's
'cause I
gonna make
wanna
that
see
movie
it
make
made.
$1 million.
Didn't you also have Aliens versus Predators?
Yeah, no one's gonna like that.
Man.
It's a nature documentary.
Predators is
And again, all comes back to Paul W.S. Anderson, director of Aliens vs. Predators.
I need to
We're
befriend.
done.
I need to
The
befriend.
movie podcast is
Paul
over.
W.S. Anderson.
Paul Anderson is the greatest.
It's
Thank you
over.
for listening,
He
everyone.
got to marry Mia Jovovich.
Thanks,
He
bye.
got to direct.
If you want more of
Resident
these,
Evil?
let us know.
Another quote. As the player pokes and prods Kasumi's body with the PlayStation 4's motion controller, she tells him, "I don't like it," and uses a word that directly translates to bad, that is often used to flatly deny permission. The player persists, and the character naturally recoils, "We did it too." It's a blatantly sexist and aggressive experience. So, before we go into that, I have a lot of questions basically about how virtual reality and interactivity change our moral perception of entertainment.
Yeah.
But let me, almost as devil's advocate, establish a couple of things off the top.
Yeah.